The Life and Times of Little Justice, Part 1. He was born in a small shack to a mom who told him he'd do great things, and a dad who most times would only seem like a visitor because work kept him away. It was the 1960s, and it was harsh that winter, and Dad never could do enough to keep food in abundant supply on the table. Many nights passed in that way, and Little Justice would later learn it would be the reason he cried so often late into the night. The days, nights, and long hours in between rolled by slowly. Growing up for Lil J, a nickname given to him by his dad when he was young, he liked the way it sounded rolling over his tongue, like so much as taking a breath of air. Growing was a slow, seemingly hopeless dream. Lil J's dad didn't like calling him Justice, because he'd always thought his wife was a bit eccentric with the giving of names, starting when she met him and they had their first child who she named Politic, who went on to become a merchant seaman, but soon afterward perished in an accident during a rare visit on land to the courthouse to pay an overdue traffic fine. He was run down by some overzealous driver simply vying for position on a very crowded road. Then, of course, in time was born Justice, a special day for mother and father who both believed he was the answer to their prayers in a house devoid of laughter between the long moments of silence. Yet he was mostly called Lil J simply because it seemed appropriate after all. He was only 2 foot nothing, and he was nearing the age of 7. Lil J had spent a large part of his childhood playing outside in the woods chasing down strange creatures who happened by on occasion near their small home. He and his dog, a Labrador retriever named Bullet, would chase down those poor, unsuspecting little creatures who wanted nothing more than to go about their daily routine of gathering up what little food they could find in the early morning hours, afraid possibly to be seen in the later hours for fear, I suppose instinctively, that they might become a large animal's dinner. One day, while romping through the woods, Lil J and his dog happened upon a tree. It was no ordinary tree, mind you, because on it had a sign that read, "This is no ordinary tree. It's extraordinary." Well, this tree instantly intrigued our Lil J, to the point where he just had to know what was not so ordinary about it. As he mulled over in his mind about how he'd go about finding out what he could to learn about this tree, he began to survey its height. It stood a good 400 feet up, or so he thought. But how in the world could he get to the top of it and discover the secret that made this tree so special?